Can everybody see?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yep, thank you. So let's
Oh, no problem.
so first of all, let's discuss what do we see? I mean, do you realize that everyone doesn't see the same thing? So what do you see? We don't even see color the same way, believe it or not. So what are you looking at?
Okay, so I noticed the metal parts in the sides. They seem a little off place, but I know what you're going for. As you can see, like with the I forget what it's called, like the Chinese, the yeah
Yin
yin yang,
yang.
like the way how they're supposed to like contrast against each other. You can see like in the foreground on top, it's like a different color compared to the bottom section of the picture. In the way that the same picture they're like used differently. Like in the top one, it's more visible, while in the bottom one, it's more transparent. But for the turtle looking thing in the middle, I'm not so sure about that.
Um, so let's discuss, what we're seeing and what it communicates to us. Um, what is the focal point of the image?
Um,
And
for me, the vocal point would be the yin yang. Um, I also noticed that the background is kind of, I don't want to say disoriented, but it's uh like the other photo. It's inverted, where it's orange instead of what I can assume is the night sky.
mm-hmm.
Um, I find it interesting that there's an armadillo on the road. The two metal beams on both ends of the thing, I find that just confusing as to why it would be there out of the whole image, because it seems like he had a whole idea with like just an armadillo on the road and then just the two beams. I'm curious to know what they mean.
I think I might have an idea, but I'm just throwing it out. So I can elaborate by mentioning armadillo. So you know how armadillos that they could roll around and stuff. So maybe it's like used as a process of like flow and reality. Like you can see like with the picture, it shows like this little road. I guess it's implying like progressive movement, and the way how the yin and yang, it represents the perspective of ideals and beliefs. Like regardless of who you are, positive or negative, time and ideals is still progressing in some way. I guess with the tires, the metal tools, I guess it just elaborates a little more of the yin and yang, like how it visualizes reality in its own perspective. And the armadillo is just doing its best to demonstrate how reality works alongside with the beliefs of yin and yang. That's how I think.
Okay, thank you. And anyone else have an opinion?
Yeah. So I kind of agreed with I think it was Ed who was speaking before. The first thing my eye goes to is the yin yang, and then I'm immediately drawn to the armadillo. Like, but I feel like because armadillos they roll up in a ball to protect themselves. So to me, that means like maybe the artist feels like they have to put like a barrier up to keep themselves protected from something. Um,
That's fantastic. Yep, idea. Thank you. You're dropping some gems today. Anyone else? Anyone else have an idea? Let's talk about even the color and the frame. Is it asymmetrical? Is it symmetrical? Is this image symmetrical? Does it communicate something different? What about the color?
Well,
Um,
personally, first, what I think about the color, it's very dominating in terms of distortion or like inverse colors. But instead of colors, I would see more into how it fades out and fades in with transparency with the light. Like you see in the bottom part, it's more covered in brightness, while on top it's much more darker. Because in both section of the picture, they're both inverted colors in some way. So I would see more into like
Mm-hmm.
the other deals besides color in the scene. If anything, like the color is much more focused into the yin and yang, the moon and the sun.
Well, the color in the background, actually in the yin and yang, one side of the yellow is a more of a warm tone, which is kind of blends in a little bit actually with the background. Um, I think the color in this image is communicating something that is unpleasant or not, or something that is describing kind of like a difficult journey. And it kind of, for me, it reads that with the animal, the armadillo, kind of crossing the road. Um, it's interesting to me of the image being divided by these kind of metal tubes. And I think it's actually unique. It breaks up the frame in a completely different way. It's the landscape, but then it's a landscape that starts to have some like pattern inside of it, which is really quite odd. The yin and yang is, of course, this symbol that is recognizable. But what I think that is actually more image, what is more interesting in this image is some of the symbolism that the artist is starting to create on his own, like the use of the color, like the distressness of the color and the road. Um, and with these kind of two patterns, it's very unique and it's really different. Um, so thank you so much for sharing, um, Camille. And if anyone else have an opinion before we give it back to the artist. All right. So Camille, what were your intentions or anything you would like to say? Hello? Let me see. Camille?
Professor, I can picture it if you want.
Huh?
I can picture it if you want.
Well, no, let's just give the artist the time to respond and
Oh,
say
here we
something.
go. My bad. I'm trying to find the unmute button. All right.
It's okay. I
All right, there we
figure
go. It was
so.
hidden. It was trying to
I
hide from me.
figure so. That's the life of
Yeah.
Zoom. It's all right.
No, because I just have a preview of everybody here on the side, and I didn't have the option of like unmuting. Um, well, no, first of all, thanks for all the feedback. Um, a couple comments were like close to being like spot on actually. And so I think like first right off the bat, like conceptually, when I first like was introduced to the assignment, it was tough to like could have went a whole nother direction, maybe with like other symbols or a character of some kind. But yeah, so the armadillo, so it's my first, it's my favorite animal, first of all, and I think symbolically it represents like that thick skin kind of model,
Mm-hmm.
going into like anything that you try to like approach in life, right? You have to have that certain thick skin. And so I tried to match it with the theme of those metal pipes, that armor or something relatively uh hard, so to speak. Could, you know, there could be some sort of connection there. In terms of effect, I think I went with dissolve. I think that's what it was, or hard light.
Mm,
I could have, now I'm looking at it, I could have made the armadillo a bit like brighter, because I think when somebody made a comment of like that it was a bit too ominous or something, and so maybe something could have been
well, first of all, just because you take in what people say,
right.
but at the same time, you listen to what works for you. You don't change things for your audience. Just as an artist,
Right.
like people see things in a different way and they bring their own story, with them. There are kind of universal things that you're doing that are kind of, you're creating your own language, but don't make those kind of creative decisions from other people.
Okay, got it. And yeah, again, and then I think like lastly, the yin yang, it speaks to like an approach of like fusion.
Mm-hmm.
Um, instead of going with like a traditional like a black and white, version
Mm-hmm.
of it. Um, this model actually it really does kind of blend, but it pops, but it also blends with the background. Like the first half of it you can sort of match it with the clouds, and then the second half you can match it with the sunrise. It's supposed to be a daytime picture, but but I altered the effect to make it look a bit
Mm-hmm.
um yeah.
I mean, well, I really think that actually the yin yang takes away from the picture. I usually give a little bit of criticism for everyone, so don't think, but I really think the yin yang takes away because it's like putting a star. Like there are certain symbols, they're cultural symbols, and um they're very quite common. But for me, the way that you did the background, it really communicates like some kind of journey or some kind of distress kind of feeling without being um so illustrative in a way. And the way that you use these kind of patterns in the corner is just very odd, and I think it's great. I like to see things that are new. I hate seeing the same cliche thing over and over. And I love the idea that your favorite animal is armadillo, and it's another animal. I think it's endangered species, isn't it?
uh I'd have to research. Yeah, I don't.
Okay, well then all of those things that you're intrigued with when you're doing a piece too, yeah, you definitely do a research. Like when I'm doing a work, and if it's something that I'm using like an animal and things um or an object, and you go and explore, why are you interested in this? You know, where does it come from? And then you start finding these really kind of crazy connections. But yeah, that's my opinion, you know, as a professional. Like, I think don't be afraid to experiment. And when you're expressing things, um, yes, don't be afraid to do things in an untraditional way, to try things out, you know. Um, but yeah, thank you for sharing.
No problem. Thanks everybody for the
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
feedback and taking a glance at it.
Thank you.
No problem.
And yes, thank you for all the comments. Ed Piguero, would you like to?
Let's go.
You ready, huh?
So here it is. Um,
Mm.
I guess I have to wait for everyone to say something.
Remember too is that the comments really help the artist, um even if it's
Wow.
yes, I think it is wow. Um so let's go. What's the focal point for you?
Belongs in a.
I really like the idea, like of the videotape, like all this background, like I'm not sure how you say that, like a video, homemade video.
Mhm.
That's really really interesting, and all the like the colors, how they're being mixed is like really attractive to the eye. Seems
Mhm.
really like colorful life and like nice vibes. Like he's persuading maybe for enjoying really good moments of life.
It's really an interesting way. It's so many. What I love seeing about students' work is their choices, you know, and there's so many different ways to tell a story, and there's so many ways to express something, that is. Um, so for me, it makes me give every time that I see something that kind of connects with like television or technology, and it's also using like this glitch art. I feel like the artist is trying to communicate something about it or critique, um, kind of maybe comfort, actually, in a way, a certain lifestyle, what I see, um, or maybe not. It was just like a cool image. It's a very strong, um, it's technically done really well. Anyone else have an opinion?
Yeah. First of all, this is a beautiful piece of work. It kind of reminds me of like an advertisement in like the late 60s. Like these people are just watching like a UFO come and like, oh, the future is here. They don't seem scared or anything. They just seem content with it. I really like this a lot. That's really all I have to say.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to say anything? Could talk about let's talk about what really works. What is it that you're drawn to in the frame?
Personally, I'm more into the car, sort of out there. I don't know. Like you don't usually see a car in a sand-esque like area. So it's very strange. And besides the UFO, of course, the UFO is very dramatic. But besides the UFO, it's the car. And I'm not so sure. I think those are like dogs in it, right? I'm not so sure. Is that a Kirby logo? What's that doing there?
Oh, that's my mouse. Sorry.
Oh,
That's my
hey. How you do that?
uh,
Sorry. Yeah, but those are dogs, right?
penguins,
Oh, I thought they were.
but it's because of the glitch effect. Um, I can see if I can find the like original one without like the effect because I do have it somewhere. Um, but that's for later. This is the finished product.
I had to say that this is a very anemic type of work. Even for a person like me, it's very confusing. I'm not so sure how I can interpret it.
Confusing
Like,
in a good way or confusing in a bad way.
no, uh, it's very unknown to me. There's some aspects in the picture where I do recognize, but the whole elaboration is very vague. Like I don't know like the main purpose this could possibly be. I would say like more of an abstract meaning of peace and harmony. Like even as you can see with the penguins in the side in the car, um, looking directly opposite towards the UFO, they're not like so concerned of anything very strange like the UFO itself. Like the way how harmony is made in this very corrupt picture, it goes to show how the idea of persuasion and equality can be created in this.
It's interesting is because of what you said. It is really beautiful and it's really beautiful images. But for me, it's like it's an illusion. It's a distortion, you know, and I get that feeling. And for me, when I read and I see the car, and it looks like there's skeletons inside. Um, so I feel like the artist is critiquing um, something, even almost, um, critiquing the viewer themselves. And but yeah, I think it's technically very well done. I think formally there is a lot of movement. Like my eye, when artists a lot of times are first starting off, they just have one focal point and that's it. But this one, as I look at the image, my eye tends to go in and out of the frame. It moves around in the different parts of the frame, not because of just the objects, but the placing of them. I think it's done very well in a sophisticated way. um, I really love the background, the use of the color bars and distorted color bars with the number in a landscape. Um, and it's a very, it feels very retro. It is a style that I've seen before, but I feel like the artist is kind of definitely communicating something, and it's done carried out very well.
Um, I appreciate all the kind words. It's mainly that I grew up mostly in like the '90s, and my siblings were born in the '80s, and I grew up with like early MTV and stuff like that. So my
Mhm.
I think it was Morgan who said that it was like a retro '80s. That was kind of my idea. I was trying to focus on like '80s punk with
Mm.
it, just like how MTV was. Um, Mostly it's just it's just little pieces of myself in this. Like the UFO, it's synonymous with like with geek culture and stuff like that. And I consider myself a huge geek, uh, unapologetically.
Mhm.
Um, the penguins and the skeletons here, the skeleton, there's skeletons in the car, but you can't see that as well. If I were to redo this, there's stuff that I would like to change. So at least some of the images aren't as what's the word? And they're more visible. But it also kind of like it helps with the with the alien uh, image, because when you see a UFO, you really don't get good pictures with it. Um, but yeah, oh, the background itself is colored bars. Again, it's just with that retro TV style. There are pyramids in the background, mostly because I just like adding depth, because they add a certain image, but it's also the fact that like it's also part of me. The beach setting, there's nothing about that. It's just a cool setting that I thought that I could like add to it. Um, I grew up in Florida some points in my life, so like the beach is important to me. But all of it's just little parts of me, and that's what I thought this project was, just to add like things about you, which is hence your alter ego.
Mm-hmm. No, it's fantastic. Anytime you use the glitch effect, it's something that formally, you connect with, because it's used in media so much. It's like to communicate something that is off, you know. Um, but I think the way that you've done, I mean, actually I thought the penguins were people too. But and I don't I really like work that it takes me a long time to read. It depends on, the function of the piece, you know. But yeah, great work. Thank you so much for sharing. Yep. Um, so let's go to the next person. Daniela.
Stop share.
Hi.
Hello, Daniela.
Hello. So let me know when.
Oh,
Should
did I not make you a co-host? I thought
I switched from device because I couldn't
okay,
present it.
no problem. So whenever you're ready.
So now it's showing up?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sure. So let me just go. Okay. I think it's there. Hello?
Yep.
I'm sorry, I wasn't sure. Yeah, I think it's there. Showing up?
Yes.
Oh, okay, sure. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, Daniela.
Yes?
Are you able to share? Is it not
Yeah,
okay.
it's there, but it's not showing. Oh, share screen. I'm sorry. I think I haven't.
It's like a green button in the center.
Is it showing now?
You know, you
I,
have to share
I
a
can't.
screen and you have to select which one you want to share. If you're on
But
computer.
it's not sharing right now.
No.
Let me try 1 second. Oh, okay. Okay, 1 second. Sorry. Okay, I think that is sharing now. Is sharing now?
Okay. Yes. Now we can see it. Thank you.
Thank you.
So let's get it started. So what are we looking at? Okay, so let's give Daniela some feedback.
This is it's very bizarre. The way how you use the material in the woman's face. I'm sorry, I don't know the material of it. It's very foreign to me. But the way how you use the material to cover the woman's face, it's very demanding compared to the other aspects in the picture. Like you can see, like there's a moon-esque like uh attire on the bottom of the screen, and there's something a little ripple effect on the right side, and I'm not so sure what that's supposed to be on the top right. And the top left is I believe that's a dime.
Okay. Let's communicate. Let's talk about what they to communicate to you. You know, if you're not on things that are clear, because I feel like there are a lot of things going on um, that, well, first off, it's really quite interesting um, is the way that she's playing with the placement of the background and and what that, you know, what does that do, you know, to you read it, you know, to the reading of the work. And I can't help um, this actually reminds me of a lot of different artists that kind of use sculpture and like these kind of like headdresses. But I feel like this particular one is connected to some kind of cultural history significance that's what I get out of it. It's really interesting. I've never seen it before, but it seems like it's a part, it's a human, like you can see her like a person's face. And then there's also this other mask um, that is quite beautiful. And then if you look at into it, it has these kind of like older, more looks like more Western images. So what does that say? And then yes, there are these kind of organic different shapes in this frame that is created in like a pattern like way. What are those shapes? What do they translate, you know, for you? You know?
Is it gonna go? Right, so you can clearly see that besides the gray picture, you can see outside the gray picture that there's like sand, like I guess it's supposed to present like more like a deserting type of atmosphere. And if I can guess, the way how all these circular objects surround the woman, I think it might give an ideal towards suppression and being forced to go through evolution. Like you can see how the woman, like it's pure in her left side of the face in her perspective, but the majority of the face is like more covered by this much more demanding type of object. And like the fact that the original face is much more um, uh, put away, like how someone would take some of those stage lights.
Okay, thank you, Johan. Let's get some, it's we a lot of students here are quiet, you know, let's get some other opinions. I don't want to start calling people, but I have not heard from Anderson or Benjamin, Kim, um, Juan. What are your opinions, Sade? Richard, what are your opinions? Anyone else have an opinion too? Thank you, Johan, for your comments.
Yeah, that's like the first thing I noticed was the that cultural like headdress of an empress or a goddess of some sort. I'm unfamiliar with its origin, but I'm really into things like that. So, and I like
Mhm.
the colors of the red, and it's just I don't know, it looks beautiful.
Hello.
Thank you. Yes.
So yeah, for me, it's like the life of someone who performs this kind of events, and what she does when she's on the stage, and what she does when she's just like in her normal life. That's what it reflects me.
Oh, interesting. Thank you, Juan.
Thank you.
Anyone else have an opinion?
Yeah, so actually in the center of well, in the eye of the mask, it kind of reminds me of the evil eye a bit. Like, and I know not everyone knows what that is, but it's basically like to protect you from like I guess bad vibes, for lack of a better word.
Thank
And
you.
also the color red is kind of significant to me because red traditionally is a very lucky color and a very protective color. So that's what I get out of this image.
Fantastic. Anyone else? Anyone else like to say anything? It's interesting you bring up the color red too. And I feel like it formally it really pops out in these kind of gray neutral tones. Yeah, it's a really beautiful mask or headdress. I'm curious what it means too. Anyone else
Nobody
have?
nobody talked about the. All right, so you see to the top left, it's like you see like liberty. Is that like
Mm-hmm.
I think that's interesting. I'm just trying to like really get what it symbolizes to the picture. Just give me a second. I've been focusing on that too. I notice how it's like not all the way seen, but it's like cut out a little bit. Everybody can see that, right? Like it's cut out. It's not really like you can see it fully. But I don't know if that's like is that like a coin? Is that supposed to be like a coin?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The picture is saying something. I'm just trying to get what it's saying.
They also mentioned the dime as well. I think it might be a dime or nickel, but
Yeah.
it's very off place compared to the other three objects surrounding.
Mm. Right.
I feel like the mask is showing like the past, and you could see in the eye is like a compass, probably symbolizing like that you make your own destiny.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Anyone else? Anyone else before we move on to the artist? Daniela,
Okay.
would you like to say anything?
Sure. So when I made this piece, I try to like first of all with the mask, I express like the way of a mask, like meaning of change to and in some way be covering myself. Like I think that a lot of students here are like coming from our countries. In some way when I came here, I think that I have to cannot show fully from myself for different situations or for maintain some things, you know. So I have to really be delicate with what is show off. So I tend to protect myself for things that can be a, an inconvenience for me, let's say. Also on the right side, like things that maybe I left behind, like I was more like a nature person. I was living a coast place, so it's like I was trying to represent like that vibe of tropical, and also when I put I think it's a quarter, and the part says liberty. I think that in some way, like the money here give you some freedom to make some decisions of movements. So yeah. So and also the mask, yeah, it's like a Venice mask, like a carnival too. So it also have some festivity on it. And the compass in the eye is like to always keep the north on. So in general, it's more like that. Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. So the mask, where does it come from? I'm just intrigued with it. I love mask and
It's like that is more like a Venetian mask. Like for example, from where I am, we tend to use masks. We have a like, let's say, an important carnival from Colombia, so we also have like this tradition. But the Venetian mask, I find it like really interesting, because they say, some research that I was doing, like you can, like, they use it like in some activities like elegant parties, or to protect the identity of the person. So yeah, I was most likely.
Interesting. Thank you so much. I would have never ever thought this was like from Colombia.
No, the mask is from Venice, but
Oh,
it has
okay.
some bad. Yeah, just to make it clear.
Okay.
But like what I try to mean in some way,
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Anyone have any questions for Daniela before we move on? All right. It's not always easy to share your work, so we have to be careful and also grateful for the students that are willing to share. Everyone is required to share their work for the crit. Like, we're just starting off, and we had a few setbacks, so I'm just giving everyone a little bit of a break. But for the next crit, I need to see everyone's work. So we're moving towards our last person, Angelini. Let me see. I think that you're all set. Let's check. Oh, so you're all set, Angelini, to share whenever you're ready. And there's a few students I know that sent me your work through the email, so don't be afraid to share. So, Angelini, whenever you're ready.
Okay. Can you see it?
Okay, now I can see it.
Oh wait, no, this is the wrong one.
Oh.
Okay, this is it.
All right, thank you. So let's start off. Anyone who would like to start?
Well, first to say, he's a very, very, very beautiful photo. Like the fact of all the details and the factors that combines alongside with the face. It's very dramatic. I love it. I can notice that there's a few little edits here and there with the actual picture itself, like the face. I can see like a few animalistic factors that's taking place and combining alongside of a human.
Thank you. Anyone else?
My focus goes to the color splash that's around the head. That's what draws my eye, and then I look up to see the edited version of the face and what I'm assuming is a tiger.
Lion.
Lion.
Yeah.
But I really like it. The background kind of, for me, muddles it. I think that if it was just a pure black background, it would make the vibrancy of the color look a whole lot better. That's, I mean, I still think it's a very good photo.
I think I know. I think I know what you might be going for, but I am completely wrong. So as you can see, like there's these little flowers in the background, right? And the fact that the face is combining alongside with the color splash, I think it might show an idea of like a one of a kind kind of individual. Like the way how the face and the color splash designs like a flower-esque like shape, it might show that kind of meaning.
Okay. Anyone else?
I like how blissful this photo is.
So what are we looking at? You know, what did the artist do? And what are what's happening in this composition? It's like a hybrid of a it reminds me of something that is part human, you know, part animal. Then it's also really colorful, and then it, you know, you have this background where the background kind of competes with the subject in a certain way. So what's happening in this image?
I think the image is juxtaposing the fierceness of the lion that's shown in her face from the almost docile nature of like the flowers behind, and then there's the vibrance of the color in between them.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Anyone else? Well, I think it's really well done. And for me, it brings up like something that you're communicating, you know, this part animal is, you know, many cultures around the world have always used different animals to, you know, represent power. And I'm actually bringing up, I'm going to share with you some other artists that I want you guys to check out from looking at your work. There's also aesthetically, it's interesting for me that you use, I'm not sure, but I can't see your image anymore. You know that, right?
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. It was interesting that you use the well, the way that you use the flowers. It makes me think of Ebony Patterson. I think you should check out her work. Yeah, she's a well-known artist, but she does more mixed media pieces, but she's a Jamaican artist that uses a lot, but lives in Kentucky. And she does a lot of imagery that is connected to violence and death, and but through flowers. And I feel like you're kind of playing in that way, that they're really beautiful. But for me, um, with this kind of like lioness, I feel that you're also communicating your power, but there's also this really beautiful, but it's also this kind of like sadness to me that's in the portrait, you know, a tiny bit. I'm not sure if that was a deliberate thing. But the execution of your work, I think, you know, it's really coming together. This is your first time in Photoshop, you know,
Yes.
using Photoshop. Yeah, so you know, I can clearly see you're doing the double exposure, and you're experimenting, you know, with different other effects. Great job. Um, so Angelini, would you like to respond or say anything?
Yeah. I originally was gonna leave the background black, but I felt like it needed something. And because I was playing around with the Photoshop on my iPad, I was kind of afraid that I was going to mess it up. But I added the background anyway. I've had dreams where like I would be sleeping in bed and had like a lion just like walk past me. Like it wouldn't necessarily attack me. It would like kind of acknowledge me and just keep going. So I thought I would add that into the picture. And I'm kind of a shy person. So the flowers kind of, like, I would say represent that. They're kind of like delicate, but at the same time, like they're beautiful. And the color splash would be, I'm not always a very vocal person. So I don't really come off as loud, but I would like to be a bit more vocal.
Okay. Thank you so much for sharing. And don't forget to send me your work. Email me your work. And from the crit, I want to also share some artists with you, with all of you. I want to share more artists later on in the future. I kind of want to get into GitHub. Hold on one second. Well, the first artist is Firle Basel. Has anyone ever heard of her?
Could you repeat her name again?
Firle Basel. She's a Dominican artist. I think she recently, she's actually, hold on one second. I'm going to share some of her work. She's from Dominican Republic. But she also uses a lot of things that with fur in her work. She was just recently in the Whitney Museum. She's doing really well. Actually, I worked with her and you can see her work in the subway station. Her work was chosen for one of the subway stations in Harlem. I haven't seen it, but what is really interesting is she talks about she does a lot of things around identity and colorism in Dominican Republic, but she also has a lot of these kind of like fur textured women, and it's really interesting. It's inspired by this Dominican mythology. And I thought of a lot of your work, a lot of the artists that shared today. I wanted to share her work, her work. I would say check her out. She's doing really well. And yes, I also, the other artist I wanted to share with you is Ebony Patterson. She's Jamaican artist. And a lot of her work, she actually does embroidery and stitching, but she does it first in Photoshop. And she creates the imagery, touches it up, and then has it kind of printed out and stitched out. So these are kind of close up. So the subject and the background is a lot of times blurred from pattern and images of flowers. So I would say check out her work as well. And she also takes really sad subjects and but you wouldn't get the feeling of seeing it when you first see them. And she also, no, that's not her. Sorry. That's yeah. So she deals with like, these really difficult subjects, but she does it in a way that isn't objectifying the body. And yeah. She's had several solo exhibitions at museums, and I think she's definitely worth you guys checking out. All right. So, thank you again for everyone that participated. I was taking notes, so I appreciate that. We're going to be moving on to Illustrator. We didn't get a chance to do the pen tool because I usually do that in Illustrator. And so we're going to start dealing with vector images after the spring break. Next week, there's spring break. There's no class. So what I wanted to do, because usually setting up a website takes a little bit of time. Since we have a little bit of time left in class, I want everyone to create a GitHub account. So I'm going to share my GitHub account in just a second. And we're going to go to github.com. So we go into github.com. This class, by the end of class, we're going to have a website, a portfolio. And let me see. Can everyone see? So we're going to start working on our website right now. I'm going to go back and explain explain a little bit about the website in detail, but I just want for you guys to sign up for the GitHub before we go on spring break. Now I'm trying to find where. Let me see the chat. Okay, so basically, you're going to go to github.com and you're going to sign up, and they're going to send you an email, and you're going to create an account with GitHub. Okay, and then let me know when you're ready. Then we're going to create a repository, a new repository. We're going to go step by step. So we're going to go to github.com. Let me see if I can. All right, so let me share this. This is really important because this is where you're going to send all of your homework. The first homework assignment with your alter ego, don't worry about it. Email it to me. But we're going to be working on creating a website. And for right now, I just want you to sign up. You're going to create a username. And you're going to put in your email and password. And then you're going to verify your account. And then you're going to verify your account through your email. Any questions so far?
No, I'm just trying to sign up now.
Okay, great.
I'm signing up from my phone and using the laptop to see you.
Okay. So I'm just going to run through a little bit about, I want to make sure that everyone, first off, has access to the website. I want to remind everyone is that I also post the videos on the website for the class videos. And then I also have additional tutorials on the website too. You can click on for Photoshop. There's additional tutorials, HTML. Once we get to it, Illustrator, InDesign, there's additional tutorials. And then here you can click on the syllabus. Right now, this is where we are, class crit. We're not going to get a chance to get to Illustrator until after the spring break, but you can always access all of this information here on the class website or on the Blackboard. Now, I just also want to share with you what you're all going to be working on when you sign up for your repository name. What you're going to do is just put the first letter of your first name, and then you're going to type out your last name, and you're going to do github.github.io. That's the first repository name that you're going to create. And I'm just going to show you this. We're not going to get into, we're going to have another class, but I just want everyone to sign up and to see what we're going to be working on. So the first thing is that, you know, we're going to create a website, and you're going to, for each of your homework assignments, you're going to create a link for your work. This is an image and of my alter ego, an example. And when you are done, you can go back to the page. So we're going to just create a really simple site that you can post all of your work. This is going to be one of the first Illustrator assignments. Okay. Are there any questions so far?
I'm sorry, what was the repository name that we have to add?
It's your first letter of your first name and then your last name. So and then .github. Hold on one second. So so basically this is a repository, your first letter of your first name and your last name together, .github, GITHUB.io.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And so once you've created your new repository and you put in your repository name, you're going to put public, and you can also click read me, and then you just create repository. That's the only thing that I'm expecting.
Sorry, Professor, could you do that one more time?
Sure. You're going to put in so it's your first letter. So your letter of your first name. Okay, so for me it's J. And then I'm going to put in J and then my last name, .github.io.
Okay, I see that. That's where basically you see how when you like log in, it says like you got the readme.md. You just erase that, right?
Yes, you're going to actually click on that too.
Oh, am I in the wrong spot?
You have
oh, create repository, right?
Mm-hmm. Let me see.
Okay, I see.
Yep. To where you create a repository, you just go to the little plus sign right here. New repository.
Yeah, I got it right now.
You
I'm
got
just
that.
can I see your name one more time? Oh, I see it up top. It's
Mm-hmm.
okay. Dot GitHub.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And don't worry about, we're gonna HTML. We're gonna have a demonstration on HTML, and we're going to do the coding together. But I just want everyone to sign up because we had a little bit of extra time, and I have one more thing that I want to share with you. I'm thinking I'm gonna share. Yeah, I'm gonna discuss it next class. So if there's any more questions, please let me know.
Where it says initialize this repository and those, we skipped that for now, right?
Right now you could put in README.
Okay.
You could click off README and then you just say create repository.
Okay. And it's our name, first initial last name .io, yes?
.github.io.
Okay.
And let me put it in the chat if it is helpful.
I did mine.
Okay, fantastic. All right.
So I seem to have a problem trying to create the account.
What's wrong?
I seem to have a problem trying to create the account, like signing up. So apparently they're trying to give me
Definitely don't pay anything.
No, it's just that they're trying to verify me that I'm a person, but the problem is that the puzzle is confusing.
Okay, well, we could do it right after class. But so everyone else, if anyone has any questions or any issues, please email me. I mean, please stay online so we can talk about it right now. And for everyone else, make sure that you get your alter ego assignment and your virtual landscape in before next class, okay? And if you did not get a chance to share, you will get a chance to share at with your final. Part of your final is doing a presentation of your work, and you'll get a chance to share your work. So if you didn't get a chance today, that's okay. Just make sure you get your work handed in on time. Thank you for everyone that was present and participated in the conversation. And I'll see you after spring break. Have a wonderful break.
Thank you, Professor.
If I have,
a
any,
wonderful weekend.
If I have any questions, can I email you?
Oh yeah, definitely. And I want to say is that you have to understand that I have a lot of students and I'm also a professional artist. So if I don't get back to you, don't think it's anything personally. Just contact me again if you do not hear from me. So
yeah, I noticed sometimes like you might not get back to me right away, but like you definitely do get back. So
okay, great. I try. So if I missed your email, just please just contact me again. And I only have a certain amount of time for after class that I could dedicate. And so if I miss you, my apologies. Just keep contacting me.
I came a little bit late and I just wanted to know if you have me down for attendance. It's Sade Henderson.
Okay. Yes. Now I have you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank
Professor,
you.
you mentioned something about landscape assignment. Was that the first assignment?
Yes, the virtual landscape. That was the first assignment.
Oh,
Sorry,
okay.
Professor,
Just the two assignments. That's it, right?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
We send that to you, right? To your email.
For right now, you will. Yes, you send it to me.
Oh, because I know the GitHub account that we made, you said eventually we'll be posting our homeworks there.
Right, exactly. Eventually, all of that will go on your own website, and we're going to build it together.
Okay, so I have my GitHub account, and I'll be ready.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Professor, and I'll email you, and if I have any questions about like my homework or anything. So.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Professor. Did you put it on attendance?
I did. I got you, Juan.
Okay. Thank you, Professor. Have a nice day.
You too.
We